to lesson 6, how to play the chromatic button accordion B system. It's a great day for playing the accordion today. The rain's beating down outside. It looks fairly light in here, but it's a really horrible day here in the UK. But never mind, it's a perfect weather for practicing your musical instrument. In this lesson we are tackling a 2-chord tune. You might think, well, why are you doing a 2-chord tune in lesson 6? And the answer is we're going to kind of beef up our bass line a little bit, make it a little bit harder, a little bit more interesting, and add just a couple of right hand techniques in as well. So let's get started. So Skip to My Lou, one of the first tunes I ever learned as a child. The word Lou refers to love, it's Scottish for love, and it's a typical square dance tune. And yeah, we're going to do 2 chords to C and G, but we're going to, as I said, do something a bit more interesting with our bass line. As usual, we're going to learn our right hand first. So we've got the verse, which takes up the whole of the first page, and you'll notice that in the 2nd bar and the 4th bar and the 6th bar, you've got 2 quavers on beat 1. So in that bar you've got 1 and 2, 3, 4, and beat 4 you won't hear because obviously the note on beat 3 is a minim. So you've got ta 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 is the timing. On the 3rd page I've suggested that you say or sing the notes. Lost my partner, what'll I do? Lost my partner, what'll I do? Lost my partner, what'll I do? And it's that wattle bit that gives you the timing of those quavers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4. And in the last 2 bars of the verse, you've got a different timing. 1, 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip to my Lou, my darling. And in bar 7 there, the quavers come on beat 2. Skip to my, to my is the 2 quavers. Skip to my Lou, my darling. Darling, 2 minims. So we're using 3 notes in these first 2 bars. E, E, C, C, E, 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 G. Finger 2 on the E, index finger on the C, and finger 3 on that G. And we're pulling out as we play that. Now, the notes there, well, E and G are on row 2 and the C is on row 3. Now, in the next 2 bars, all the notes are on row 1. We've got this. The notes are D, D, B, B, D, 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 F. It's kind of a G7 chord if you play those 3 notes together. And you're pushing the bellows in as you play this. Again, it's 2nd finger on the 1st note of the pattern, D, index finger on the B, 3rd finger on the F. And then the next 2 bars are the same as the first 2 bars, pulling out. Now, for the last 2 bars of the verse, we swap our fingering around to make it more comfortable. We've done this before. We're pushing the bellows in. We're going to use our thumb on the D, thumb on the D, index finger on the E, finger 2 on the F, so that sort of typical triangular kind of pattern, and then just swing our index finger over for the C, those 2 C's which are both minims. So let's play that verse pattern, just the right hand, after 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's look at the chorus now, which is on the next page, and we start off with 2 minims. We've got E, C, both minims, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, and then this time the quavers are on beat 2. Lou, Lou, skip to my Lou. Okay, so you can see it's the same 3 notes you're using in the verse, just the timing is different. And sure enough, the next two bars, use the three notes on row 1, same as we did before. Same timing, loo, loo, skip to my loo, and then the next two bars on the next line, same as the first two bars of the chorus. Now the last two bars of the chorus are essentially the same as the last two bars of the verse, but we do something slightly different on the end. This is what we do. Do that again. And that sounds a little bit weird. It'll sound a lot better when we put the left hand in there. So we're pushing the bellows in and we're doing that D, E, F, E, D. But this time we don't swing our index finger over onto the C, but we put our middle finger, our second finger on it, because we're going to play it once and then again, and we're going to add this low A. We've got the C and the A together, and I reverse the bellows, pull them out, so that I can do what I call the classic accordion ending, and I'll do that, I'll make a bit more of that when I put the left hand in. So you've got, as I say, it sounds a bit strange on its own, but once we put the left hand in, it'll sound great. So let's play the whole thing through, verse and chorus. 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice how I give that last chord a bit of an extra tug on the end. As I say, more of that later. So like I said earlier, we're going to make our left hand a bit more interesting, and to show you that I'm going to move in close to the camera now. Here's our normal bass line for a C major chord. That's the C root note and the C major chord. Okay, now we're going to do something slightly more interesting than that. We're going to introduce another note. So we're going to start off with our usual C fundamental bass and C major chord. But then we're going to come over and we're going to play the note G, which is a G fundamental bass note on the same row as the C. In fact, it's one up from the C. I'm going to use that index finger on that. So we've got ring finger on the C fundamental bass note, middle finger on the C major chord, and index finger on the G fundamental bass. Now notice second time there I did the normal C bass note, C major chord. I didn't add that extra note in. So again. So that gives us what we call a classic first and fifth bass line. C is the first in the scale of C, G is the fifth in the scale of C, and it makes our bass line much more interesting to listen to. And now I've decided not to do it all the way through. I actually don't think it works if you do it the whole time, kind of relentlessly. That's why I changed from doing that to doing just the basic C bass, C major chord. Show you that again. So having done that, you then move over to the G chord and do the same thing, pushing in this time. This time the extra note is D, so you've got G bass note with the ring finger, G major chord with the middle finger, and D fundamental bass, so extra bass note with the index finger. And we're pushing in. And once again there you notice I don't do that extra note, just do the basic bass line. Come back to the C, same thing. Okay, and then here. So what I've got on the last two bars of the verse is G bass note, G major chord, G bass note, G major chord, and then on the very last bar, C bass note and C major chord together. Okay, let's add in the right hand with that, and you'll be able to hear how it fits. So we're pulling out first of all. Okay, and then when we do the chorus, same idea. So let's just show you that left hand now, all the way through, without pushing the right hand with it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And notice how I reverse the bellows on that last pair of notes, so I've got plenty of air for that lovely accordion flourish on the end of the tune. Okay, I'm going to pan out now and show you both hands and wrap this thing up. 1, 2, 3, 4. So on the ending, we're pushing the bellows in as we start it, up to that point, and then we pull out. Notice what I do is I pull the bellows, then I kind of stop, so there's a kind of a lull, and then I've got that lovely sudden burst of volume as I give the bellows an extra tug. Fairly corny, but it sounds great. Now, the last chord is C sixth, and it's achieved by playing C fundamental bass, or the C bass note if you like, C major chord with the left hand together, and on the right hand I've got a C and an A note, and it's the A that is the sixth of the scale of C. Think of it alphabetically: C, D, E, F, G, and then back to A for your sixth. So there's your... gives you a slightly more interesting chord to finish on. So using this really simple tune, so not having too much to worry about with the right hand, gives us a chance to concentrate on our left hand and to make that left hand more interesting. So that bass line, it kind of anchors the whole thing, doesn't it? Keep that nice and steady, and then kind of pin the tune to it. Try and keep that nice and even. It's very easy, isn't it, to get a little bit nervous and start to rush a bit. So try and watch that. I must admit, it's something I have to watch very carefully when I'm playing this instrument. So in this tune, we're actually playing all the notes that are found in the scale of C major. Okay, we are going to play an A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Okay, now notice the lowest note was A and the highest note was G, but all of those notes are all found in the scale of C major. Normally we go from a C to a C if we were playing the scale. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, but just so happens that the lowest note is A and the highest note is G. Notice no black notes in this tune, no sharps. So you have A, B, C, D, E, F and G. And just those basic chords, C and G major on the left hand. Okay, well that's the end of lesson 6. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you're practicing hard, and I will see you in lesson 7.